So shall we get started? All right, so I'll just introduce Kevin Robinson, principal at Bristol Elementary School, and Deb Rickner, art teacher here at Bristol Elementary School. And they're going to give a little presentation, talk some about the school, and then give us a tour and tell us a little bit more about the school. Yes. Take it away, Kevin.
So good evening. Welcome to, again, Bristol, and thanks to Patrick and all of you for being here. And just want to say, as we've talked about the rationale and purpose behind this, it's really great, as we've talked about, to have you as the board get out into schools and get to see some of what our kids are actually doing. So, and with that vein, as I shared with Patrick in preparing for this, I hope to do very little talking and then turning it over. We have Deb with us who will share some about art in our art program and share some of that work. We also have our music teacher with us, Chris Hamill, and as we start our tour, we will happen upon a group of our students called our Mountain Street Bobcats House Band, who will do a little performance for us, and are really excited about you guys coming through. Continue the tour, and then let you get back and continue with your business. All right? So just really quickly, wanted to share kind of how the INS policies shape our learning and how it informs what we do here at Bristol and is embedded into our work. So as we reflect and use them and think about the four broad areas of core subjects, transferable skills, college and career readiness, and then return on investment in our resource alignment. And we're working on bullet number 4 today as we start thinking about the FY20 budget was one of the things, and our strategic plans and our latest INS report. Part of our work today was actually looking at resource alignment and our return on investment. But in general, the INS, in my belief, and as we continue to talk as a team, continue to be a great way to help shape and inform kind of our North Star, where we're trying to go, and ultimately what we want that ultimate outcome for students post-secondary as they go on to college and career readiness. What are the values and beliefs, the things that we hope students will attain as they come through our school district? So that is how the INS, in my interpretation, as Patrick would say, or using them in our everyday work and thinking about what we're doing here at Bristol, helps to shape what we're doing with student learning. Some of the guiding questions, and these come from some of the work of DeFore and learning communities, but always trying to reflect back to these and quieting the noise of things that can be distracting for us as we think about our work, and simplifying what we do and making sure we're staying true to guiding questions that facilitate our work. What do we want students to know and be able to do? How will we know whether they've got it? What will we do if they don't? And what will we do if they already have it? So trying to always come back to those as we think about the activities or instruction or what we're exposing students to kind of guides the work we're doing. But what we want students to know, again, the INS help to shape that. Also, standards-based instruction. We've been spending the past 2 years here at Bristol kind of unpacking and revisiting some of our standards. We have Bridges curriculum that helps to inform what's happening with students in math, but in the area of literacy, we've wanted to shape up and strengthen some of the goals or standards that we're identifying and using in students' learning. So we've been looking at how our learning goals for students align to the standards that we have. How are we identifying essential standards? So as we come to unpacking the standards, what is it at first grade, second grade, third grade that we want students to know? So we call that horizontally, but also how does it connect vertically to what they'll need to know in middle school, high school, and ultimately once they leave? And that's a part of the conversations that we try to come back to at each time. So not just what's happening in any grade level is important, but how does it connect to the next grade level and then the next level of education once they reach secondary, being middle school or high school, or go on to college and career. How does all of that connect and help prepare them for what's coming? So that is at the foundation of what we're doing with learning and trying to come back to. Then when we come to our learning environments, it's about systems of support. So I'm sure this is not new to any of you, but we do spend a lot of time, and in my role, I hold myself accountable for trying to assess how effective our systems are and trying to analyze how well are our systems meeting these healthy systems of support? So ultimately, we want 100% of students to be successful. Research shows that at least 80% of our students should get that with research-based strategies that are happening first instruction in our classrooms. Another 15% may need something additional to help them get it, and then another about 5% may need some intensive supports, but ultimately 100% of our students should be able to attain these, went back to our ends policies, but also back to the standards that are set forth for them through our core subjects. So as we go through and evaluate our learning environments, these are some of the ways that we're supporting students. In Tier 1 with PD, training, putting resources there through our early release days, some of the things that we're doing to support staff, looking at how we make that happen. Then at Tier 2, what are some of the additional, or using additional programs or things that can help students that need just small group or a little additional support to reach their learning goals. And then ultimately at Tier 3, which I think is really good that the board has approved and done, with some of our interventionists and skilled experts that can help those students who really need intensive supports to reach their learning goals. I think our district is going to see over time some really good gain with that added component to our systems of support. So this goes into more detail, but again, I want to be brief with this and just kind of highlight some of the things and let you see what's happening and hear from a couple of our teachers and students. But the work that you're doing, and I know I'll just share that the past few months have been some tense times, and I want to commend the courage and the vision that the board has for the district, and I share this with Patrick often. I think it is moving in a direction that will see gains in outcomes for students with supports that are in place. So thank you each for serving and for being a part of the board and giving your time and commitment to this, and for being here tonight. And now I'll turn over to Deb, and when Deb finishes, we'll start a tour, go through and see a little bit of Bristol.
It's interesting looking around the room because I have former students, I have parents of former students, I have former colleagues. It's just a little, you know, I've been doing this for 28 years now, so it's really interesting being at this level. I've made the decision that if a grandchild walks into my room, I might not be able to continue. It's been so but I am a strong supporter of the arts, obviously, and I believe that, and you go back to that core subjects, that the arts should be and should be considered a core subject. And talk to me about, you know, doing an arts-based school. I would love to do that. You know, the arts, you know, give more music, more art, and more PE, and I think everything else would take off. But I wanted to show you just, you know, some stuff. I mean, I believe that the arts are where kids can take chances and risks and make tough decisions and be scared when they're about to make a mark on their beautiful picture at the very end, and they're in a safe environment. And to me, that's the most important thing about the arts, is the fact that they're taking those chances with paint as opposed to taking chances in other ways that might not be as safe, and practicing those decision-making skills and those judgmental skills. And it's really amazing what happens when you give kids a subject and then you let them do it, do their work, and they end up with, you know, completely, absolutely different final designs, even though they've all had the same lesson, the same description. These are bird's eye views, as if they were flying over land, like a bird. And each one of them just comes out with a completely different way of doing. We start with the river and then build up around it and what kind of land they're planting. You know, what's in that field and what's in that orchard and what's growing in there. And then they make giant pumpkins and have to tell them that maybe they should be trees instead of giant pumpkins. It's an interesting concept. This is second grade, by the way. We've done things like robot spiders. And these actually have little electrical, you know, circuits put into them, switches. These are buttons, made with buttons. I scrounge buttons and all sorts of stuff to you know, I collect any weird stuff. If anybody has any leftover stuff they want to just hand over to me. And this is fifth grade. You know, landscapes made out of crayons with paint on it, also fifth grade. And again, it's a challenge for them. You know, you say, they look at these and they go, we can't do that. I do a sampler for them, they say, we can't do that. So yes, you can, as long as I could get every single one of you, and I know half of you would say, oh, I only draw stick people. You know, I could get every single one of you to be able to do this, and better, you know, even if you think you can't. Because it's just steps. It's building steps, and if you break it down and let them know, they can figure it out with really amazing results. So the rest of these are out in the hallway if you want to look at the comparison. I also have just finished up a portrait. They wanted to do portraits of famous people, and that's a really scary thing to do. Anybody know who this is? Anybody recognize this person? Huh?
Will Smith.
It's Will Smith. Okay, that's a fifth grader just did that. That's pretty impressive. Oh, excuse me. Will's upside down. But, you know, it's just, they started out being, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, and ending up with really amazing results. Anybody recognize this person? Probably not, I don't know. No? It's Aaron Rodgers, football player. That one. No. You recognize that? It's Nolan Ryan. But we also have, we did this carousel with this, you know, that on. I love the teeth on this. Look at the teeth. They're made out of like a pearl chain, like a plastic pearl chain. But this was a carousel, and that actually spins. And these guys had so much fun doing these little animals and adding the gems. And this guy figured out how to do the spikes in a whole unique way that is really incredible. And he was teaching other people how to do it in a way that I never would have thought of, you know. And these actually, this one did not start out as a seal, but it turned into one because it looked like one. And this is actually, they built the carousel too, and it's actually on a Lazy Susan. So this part goes around. The table doesn't, obviously, but. And these are just examples of a huge amount of variety that goes into the arts and all the different objects. I mean, in any subject, I can come up with a project, or maybe not quantum physics, but you know, I can come up with a project that fits the arts. And Mr. Robinson wanted me to remind you that down the hallway, when you guys go on your tour, down the cafeteria and the hallway down there have all these, every single cinder block is filled in with a painting and a name. And every single promoting sixth grader that leaves the school leaves behind a block. I don't know, what year, Caleb, did you?
I think we started the year after.
After. I started in 94, was the year after.
Yeah.
So since 1994, every single student has done a block before they leave the school. And in my young days, I actually was planning on going to the top of the cafeteria until I realized one day, well, how am I going to get the kids to the top of the cafeteria? So then we went out into the hall, and I'm now running out of blocks, and we're trying to come up with a solution of how we can continue this. But it's amazing because I've got at least half of my kindergartners come in, and their parents are on the wall. And it's really cool because that's exactly what I imagined in the beginning, was that people can come back and say, oh look, this is my block, or this is my aunt, this is my uncle, whatever. You know. So make sure you check those out when you go down the hallway to see the band play. Okay.
Fire prevention.
What's that?
Contest fire prevention. You want to share the?
Oh, the fire prevention. Yeah. Well, we were supposed to have this meeting last week. And I was supposed to have all the fire posters to show you, and then we had our celebration of learning on, right, I could have asked you to bring that back, I'm sorry. Celebration of learning last Friday, in which point I gave the kids their posters to bring home, because they showed we had this year, every year, almost every year, or pretty much every year, we've had winners for the third grade fire safety poster calendar. That we go through it to a ceremony in Montpelier, and the posters are put into a calendar. There's 26 winners and runners-up all together. There's 13 winners, one for the cover and one for each month, and 13 runners-up, one for the cover and one for each month. And I couldn't believe it when she was reading off things. We had 9 winners for the calendar and 5 runners-up this year. So basically, we took up 14 of the 26 slots in the calendar. And so it was kind of cool. It was like herding cats at the ceremony, trying to come on, kids, I'm trying to get them all for the pictures and everything. But it was awesome, and it's really exciting to be able to go to Montpelier, and they get to. The governor wasn't there this year because the ceremony happened to be the day before the elections, so he was off campaigning. But usually the governor is there, and you get to meet Sparky the dog, which is like a Disney character type thing. But it's really neat, and it was really cool to have that many kids. It's such a special thing for them, and it's really neat to know that these artists are so, they get to a point where they get really into their poster and they make them look finished and nice, and they actually win. It's really exciting. So that was the other thing. Thank you for reminding me. Okay.
14 of 26 statewide is really impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually told them while we were there that maybe they should limit each school to maybe 6 winners, just because I usually tell my students that, because of course there are a lot of disappointed kids too. I usually tell them that what they probably do is they do it anonymously, and then they flip them all over and discover they're all from Bristol, and so then they switch out half of them because they can't make them all. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe I don't know, but it was pretty exciting that
Help me with my history is Alan Kimball, who's been here by our facility team member. This is our cafeteria, and as we go around, we'll see some more about 5th and 6th grade wing in a minute. But if we come in here.
And his name is Mr. Robinson!
For your patience and for waiting on us and being here as well. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Mr. Hamill. So I want to reintroduce Mr. Chris Hamill is our esteemed music teacher. Does a really great job with our students. And we had, prior to some staff moving and going, we had a house band that Mr. Hamill, Mr. Mazer, and Mr. J.T. Thomas were members of. And so this year, with the disbanding of our house band that was led by staff, our students have stepped in and become our house band for assemblies and are named our Mountain Street Bobcats house band. And they've been
with a Z.
With a Z.
Very
Bobcats with a Z. And they've been amazing. So I'll turn over to Mr. Hamill so they can show you.
All right. We're going to get going. They've been ready to play for a while. So we're going to do a little warm-up. They call it the fancy warm-up.
Do I need to come over yet? Come on.
Here we go. 1, So this is the new house band at BES. They come to class on Friday mornings at 7:30, so they give up a little extra sleeping time to practice. So the next piece that we're going to play is called Creepy Crawlies, and it features some fun stuff with the trumpets to use their mouthpieces to imitate an insect of sorts, and then the other instruments get to do something fun to it. So we'll let you figure that out. All right. 1, song is from the movie Avengers. These students heard the middle school band play it and they were inspired and they wanted to play the same arrangement. So I went to Mr. Tatro and got the music for them and they stepped up to it. So this is a pretty tricky song, but they did pretty good. All right. So this is mainly a 6th grade band. Genevieve, she's a 5th grader. She practiced really hard, and she was able to keep up with music. So obviously we asked her to come in. And we have Jack, who's a 5th grader as well, who's been working hard, taking some extra lessons, and he's learned a couple tunes to play with us. And also we have Sawyer over here. He kind of got this gig by default. More to come, more to This next song is Winter Wonderland. So we'll feature some sleigh bells, maybe some dancing. We're not sure how it feels. All right, here we go. We have one more. We do play at all the all school assemblies, and the house band plays as students are walking in. And then we also play a song called Watermelon Man, and the kids all dance back to the class. So we're going to play that. Sometimes when we're lucky, we get a lead tambourinist. So if you're inspired. Lexi's going to show you the way. All right. solos. Thank you so much for coming, parents. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us.
Mountain Street Bobcats with a Z. So listen, this happens on Friday afternoons, the last Friday of every month. And thankfully, it's a Friday afternoon, and it sends us home. It was the first time I heard this. I told Chris I felt like I needed to go party afterwards. This is really good music. So thank you guys. Great job. Thanks for being here doing this.
Thank you.
So this is our 5th and 6th grade hallway. If you want to walk down and see, but we have now 3 classrooms of 5th and 6th graders down. We also have some support staff that are SD-based staff that are here this year as well. All right.
My former classroom, first door on the right. Very nostalgic for me.
Yeah, so the kids feel like they have arrived, and they're the big kids on campus. Once they make it to D wing, this is called. As you come through again, this was the original building, and you'll see the artwork. Our art class was right here. Music classroom is here, and this is the library where all of our students come for the arts. So as we come into this hallway, this is our pre-K to 2nd grade hallway. And as we walk through, our 2nd grade classrooms are further this end. We do have a team room and ELP, which is one of our after-school programs, extended learning program that's funded by our 21st Century Grant. Happens here. 2nd, 1st, kindergarten. At the end of the hallway, we also have an early ed program, pre-K program that is here. I'll walk you in to see our gym. We're lucky to have a dedicated gym and cafeteria and not have the combo use, so it's beautifully kept. And I hope you see our facilities team does a really good job keeping up the building. I've been in a few schools now, and this is one of the consistently best kept buildings that I've been in. So our facilities team does a really good job here. So as you pass through, you can see some of the work, and our staff does a good job of keeping this current. So the student work that's displayed gets changed out often. So what you're seeing is current work, and you can see some of it is themed for the holidays and season. Students get to express, teachers do express that individualization, and we are trying to work towards personalization and interest. So you'll see students representing some of their work in their own unique voice as you come through and look at what's being displayed. And like you can see, evidence of students are focused on reading, but as they work towards phonetics and spelling, as you can see, read more. They're not quite, this is a word, but not quite the read we're looking for. But students phonetically learn their spelling and developing their reading over time through phonetic spelling at first, sounding out the words as it sounds at first. And these rooms are where our early ed program, pre-K program is. And we've been working, Vermont is working on early MTSS, and Susan is a part of helping coordinate, Susan Brule, coordinating that. So we are working on, when I shared a little bit about our MTSS systems and talking K-12, part of the early MTSS is including early development in that. So we've been working with our early ed program to have pre-K to 12 MTSS systems and working as a team and incorporating them as one part of our system. So when we talk about outcomes and our ends for students, we're trying to, research shows the earlier we start on that, the more successful students are likely to be. So it's good to have them in our program and staff working with us and catching and supporting students earlier for that that kindergarten readiness that we work on.
Thank you, Stand at a couple there. Yeah.
And as you'll be able to see on the classroom doors, this is our grade 3 and 4 hallway. Also connects you as we go to the end of the hallway to our main entrance and main office at the front of the building. And if you come in on Mountain Street, this is the entrance you would come through, which is our ground floor or second floor, depending on which region or how you qualify what floor we're on.
I had Kathy Smith, a teacher back in 1992.
Her girls, she
No, I
was
taught.
one of my girls.
Yep. I was her classroom assistant when she got me sick as well. Man.
A long time.
Kevin, what's the current number of students?
About 256 last. And we are a PBIS school, so as you come through, you'll see our students can earn pause when they're recognized for doing what's expected or as they are going about the course of their day. So they earn little coins with pause on, and as this fills, students earn school-wide celebrations as part of our incentive system for teaching expectations and students demonstrating proper behaviors and expectations. And that's our famous Bobcat, which has been around for a couple of generations now, I think.